Burning Love? Okay, so that's something I'm really proud of. That is, that's a web series with a bunch of really great people. It's with like Malin Ackerman from Watchmen, Ken Marino from Children's Hospital, a bunch of Children's Hospital people. I guess Malin's on Children's Hospital. I'm an idiot. June Raphael from a million things, including NTSF on Adult Swim. Jennifer Aniston's in it. There's a bunch of really great people. It's like a Bachelor spoof, and it's online, and it's called Burning Love, and it's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. And then there are a couple of other web series. There's something called Back on Tops that I did with the Sklar brothers and a bunch of like famous sports guys. Athletes, I think they're called. I just outed myself as a non-sports nerd. I'm not in any way into sports. I'll tell you how I went into, this is the only way that I got interested in sports, and maybe you guys will identify with this. I just did a segment for this job that I do every day now for the Huffington Post called HuffPost Live, and I produce and host like story, I guess, conversations that are sort of like news, but different. And I pitched a story. I don't know anything really about sports, and I don't watch sports at all, but a super nerdy math friend of mine was freaking out about this book called Scorecasting, and it's all about like the statistics of sports and like human error and just the math of sports. And I, without knowing or caring anything about sports, was like, I'm interested in that part of it. And so I hosted this segment with these guys who are like experts on the idea of replacing regular umpires and refs with robots. Because I was like, I can totally nerd out about robots. And so it ended up basically being a conversation about like, if R2-D2 were on a baseball field, like those words were literally said in that context. I was like, can't you just imagine like R2's trying to call a strike and then like the ball hits him and then he makes like that sound like, woo! And then he like falls over, and then a little thing of steam comes up, and like, that to me was like, I get sports now! Anyway, so that was a fun web series. But yeah, so there's this and that like that, but the thing that I'm most passionate about, that if I had to like pimp myself out for anything other than Cora being here, is my podcast, which is called the JV Club. It's on the Nerdist network, and it's just me nerding out with awesome, funny women. Many of, all of them are more famous than me. Cara Santa Maria, who does Talk Nerdy to Me for the Huffington Post, she's a huge, huge science nerd. Christina Hendricks from Mad Men, Gillian Jacobs, Alison Brie, Yvette Nicole Brown from Community have all done it. And I talked to them about what their teenagerhood was like. I talked to them about what their adolescence was like and how like awkward and weird and nerdy and uncomfortable it was. And it always is for everybody. Like all of the people that Maggie Lawson from Psych, so many people who, they just talk about like their vulnerabilities and their humanity and how we all get super hurt by stuff and how, I don't know, it's just, but it's funny, but it's a funny podcast. So that has been like one of the coolest things I've ever had the privilege of doing. So that is, I would encourage you guys to listen to that, check it out. Just because I only interview girls, I have tons of guy listeners too, so.
Another thing I kind of freaked out about was when I was rewatching How I Met Your Mother, I noticed that you had like an appearance in there. For those of you who might watch How I Met Your Mother, she played a girl named Stacy, who was a bass player.
Yeah. I ended up with like little Josh Radners and little Patrick Harris is crawling on me.
How was that experience working with like Patrick Harris and Josh Radners?
It was super awesome. That was how I met Neil, and Neil and I became really close friends. And we just finished shooting a web series for the Nerdist channel that we did with the Henson Company, and it's called Neil's Puppet Dreams. And the idea that we created and wrote is that Neil Patrick Harris is a little bit of a narcoleptic, no one knew, but he falls asleep a lot. And depending on what situation he falls asleep in, that informs the dream that he then has, and the dream is people in puppets. So if he falls asleep in the doctor's office, in his dream he's being examined by a puppet doctor. I'll let your imagination do the rest. But there'll be some music, and we hope to make more. We just finished shooting them, so hopefully in the next couple of months we'll be able to release those.
I mean, this is wishful thinking from me, but
yes,
I've noticed
be the star of the next series.
Oh Lord, I noticed that you have a lot of interviews with a bunch of community cast members. In fact, last night I heard when you filled in for Jesse Thorne and you got to interview Danny Booty, which, oh my God, that was like the best thing, by the way.
Danny and I do improv together.
I was wondering, what are the chances of seeing you on an episode of Community?
I do, you know what, I've never even auditioned for it. I don't know, yeah, I've never even auditioned for it, but all those guys are definitely my friends. Yeah, it's funny. I've never auditioned for The Office. I've never auditioned for Community. I've never auditioned for Parks and Rec. A lot of it has to do with just me I'm not available as much as I would like to be to audition and stuff. But it would definitely be really fun. Those guys are all, I don't know Chevy Chase, but I know all the other cast members and they're great. And they had a panel at Comic-Con directly before ours. So it was really fun to see all my buddies up there. Danny and I have known each other for years, and we met doing a pilot together for Fox that didn't get picked up, and we stayed really close. And I do an improv show with a live long-form improv show with Danny Pudi, with Oscar Nunez, who's Oscar on The Office, Rachel Dratch from Saturday Night Live, Simon Helberg from The Big Bang Theory. Why am I blanking on the rest of the cast? Michael Hitchcock, who is in all the Christopher Guest movies. So I love doing long-form improv. That's one of my other favorite things to do.
Well, as my friends will tell you, I'm a pretty big television guy, so whenever I meet somebody, I always ask, oh, what are you watching? I guess my question for you is not so much just what are you watching, but are there any shows that are on right now that you'd really like to be a part of?
Well, I love, I get super into all the dramas. I don't know why, if it's just because comedy is sort of feels like more about work and about my work and stuff, but I love Breaking Bad and Dexter, and I'm still watching True Blood, even though it's pretty ridiculous, but I do love it. In fact, I can't even tell you, sorry. We have a cameo appearance by someone in the cast of True Blood in the Henson, Neil Patrick Harris thing that I just shot, but I can't spoil it. And what else am I super into? I do definitely like Mad Men. I watch that. I love Damages. I think all the super serious stuff. Of course, I watch Game of Thrones, please.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh Lord, how much time do you have? I think for the sake of the audience, you don't want to hear how many TV shows that I watch.
Well, you can download that later.
I'll give you spoilers. Avatar is kind of my favorite show of all time. So.
Oh, that's so nice. Somewhere Mike and Brian are blushing.
Wow, crazy pants. Okay. So, not counting this right now, have you had any particularly awkward encounters with fans?
No. I've never had any. I wouldn't call anything awkward. There's going to be a really awkward pause after I said that.
Okay, battle's over.
No, I really haven't. You guys are, the Korra fans are amazing. The Avatar fans are amazing. They're so great. They're just awesome. I can't say I've never had a bad experience. Never.
So in the original series, one of my favorite scenes is when Uncle is, it's in book 2, when Uncle is outlining the 4 nations, and he's saying water, symbolizes, God, I'm such a bad Avatar fan, I can't even quote it. I quote the air one, because that's what I identify to. Air is the symbol for freedom, whereas Earth is a symbol for foundation and being sturdy. I was wondering if...
Did you say water is the symbol for wet?
Oh, Lord.
That'd be weird. I'm not being sexy right now. Justin, you're reading too much into my comment. I encourage you to do so, but yeah. Okay. Okay, please continue.
I was just curious, if you had to pick an element within the Avatar universe, what would you identify with most?
This is the first time anyone's asked me that. It's not, and I keep wishing that there were more than 4, so I could just give a different answer every time. But in all honesty, I really identify with Korra. I super wouldn't pick air, even though I know that what I need most is like to master air, like in terms of my temper and in terms of my impatience and all that kind of stuff. So I really identify with that. I was telling Jay and Danica and Hector in the car on the way from the airport, because they all 3 picked me up, that I like hitting tennis balls a lot. Not necessarily like playing games, although I can, but I just get like super impatient even about like standing while someone else is serving, and I just like to run around and hit the ball back and forth. And I was just having a day where I hadn't done it in a while, and I just wasn't hitting them where I wanted them, and hitting them into the net, and hitting them out, and all that. And I was getting really frustrated, and I totally, fully, quietly to myself was like, "Be the leaf." And then I was like, I am such a dork. But I will say this. I started to like breathe, and I was thinking about all those like rotating panels and stuff. And once I just like kind of let myself settle in, you know, my hitting totally improved. I am very kind of feisty like that. So, but I guess I do identify most with water. Fire is like only sometimes, like when I'm really feeling that way. But water is sort of like, it can be super powerful, super dangerous, but it's also, I mean, it's water. So.
Let's say hypothetically you could voice any other character in the Avatar universe. Who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. Interesting. I don't know. That's really hard. Because I love everyone's voice so much. It's hard to imagine. I love the voices that Stephen Root does for the show. And I also like the intensity of like the super villains. I mean, I love Amon's voice, you know, just because it's so horrible. I don't know. And I also like Iki's voice. I just like, you know, the idea of being that shrill. It's a good group. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. I guess I can't. It's really hard for me to decide. I'm sorry, guys. I let down.
Oh. All right. So I recently read this interesting tale that Paramount Animation has kind of been taken over, and with that unlocks the potential for a Legend of Korra animated film that's not touched by M. Night Shyamalan. Heartbreakingly bad.
Yeah.
I think it's great when I say that.
Yeah.
But can you shed some light on the possibility of a movie?
I actually cannot, and I'm not even, like, there's stuff I know I can't talk about, because I'm just not allowed to, because Nickelodeon doesn't like anything to kind of leak, but truly from the bottom of my heart, the first time I heard about it was before this panel. Someone was like, "What about the movie?" I was like, "I don't know what you mean." So if they do one, I hope they ask me to do the voice. I have not heard anything about it at all. And I don't even know if there is one, so. But I'll see what I can find out. I mean, I'll certainly ask. Believe me, I'll ask.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't call you like Kara or something, that would be okay. Corey. The Legend of Corey.
Terrible. Terrible, can you imagine?
Oh God. I'm trying not to, but the more that I try not to, the more it's just like so imprinted in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I'd actually be dressed up as Zuko right now, but M. Night Shyamalan kind of ruined that for brown people, so.
Oh.
Let's get into some book two. I know that at Comic-Con, this is Comic-Con. Comic-Con, you guys kind of released like an animatic of a couple minutes worth.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you guys recorded so far?
We've recorded all of them.
Oh,
we recorded all of them for book two. Yeah, we haven't recorded book three or book four, but we've recorded all of them.
And so when you signed on, was it were you expecting Core to just be like a mini-series that was only like 13 episodes, or?
I gotta be honest with you, when I got it, I didn't even know that it had 13 episodes. I thought that it was just one, and that maybe Nickelodeon would pick it up. That was not true. I mean, that was not true. Like, that was not, everybody but me knew that that wasn't the case, but I think it was that same thing I was talking about earlier, where like, you don't want to get too excited about anything. And so somehow in my mind, I had turned it into like a thing that probably no one would ever see, but that I would get to do one of. And so it was like a couple of days after I found out I got it, that my agent was, that I was like, I hope this one gets picked up. And he was like, it already has been. And then I felt really stupid, but then I felt so amazing. So it was like opening one Christmas present and then opening like 13 Christmas presents a few days later. So it was amazing. I got to like be super excited all over again.
So I know you're supposed to keep it kind of hush-hush in terms of book two, and there's a lot of things that you can and can't talk about. But looking back at book one, it was very plot-driven, I'd say, versus Avatar being very much character-driven with one overarching plot. With the inclusion, congratulations by the way, of 26 more episodes, does that mean that we'll be seeing more of a, like an arc type of story, or will it be more similar to the book one, where it was like 13 episodes we deal with one person, and the next 15 episodes we deal with another person, and so on and so forth?
Wait, well, sorry, no, I really didn't understand for a second, but so, did you say then that they begin with one person, or did you say that? Is that what you said? I just didn't hear the last part. No, not at all.
I'm so sorry. I'm just playing.
Ask me the question about the awkward moment again. Totally kidding.
Keeping it real awkward.
Justin, you're rocking it out. Good job.
I was wondering if, now that you guys have so many more episodes ordered, are we going to be seeing something similar to where in Avatar, where there was essentially like one big bad, so to say?
Gotcha.
Or will it be like three?
Yeah, I don't think I can answer that. I'm so sorry. Let me try to figure out. I actually have, you guys, I'm not even kidding. I have like the things I'm allowed to talk about. I'm pulling it up right now. Mistakes. I have like the Nickelodeon talking points. The Legend of Korra is set to return in 2013. Hang on, let me just, this is the thing. It is definitely, they are very plot driven, and they are very much, that's something that Mike and Brian have talked about in the past, is that they really kind of kick it up a notch and make them very tight stories, and very action driven, and very plot driven, to your point, and that remains through book two as well. There's just a lot that gets packed into those episodes. If anyone wants to, I'll you know what, someone will ask me this when we go to the audience Q&A, so I'll let you guys ask. But just to riff off the top of my head, the primary threats in book two involve dark spirits coming to the human world.
That's pretty awesome. I can see like Korra and Roku get along pretty well.
Dark spirits, guys.
Dark spirits. Alright. Super big spoilers.
Yeah.
Just a heads up for everybody, we will be having our Q&A right after this question, so if you want to ask a question, you should start lining up over there. Yeah, Yeah, grab Mike. Don't be shy.
Is it hard to get to that mic?
I have no idea. Oh Lord.
And
Hey, Swami, you want to help me out real quick? Do I just give this mic? Alright!
We're gonna get through this, you guys.
It'll be a brief intermission.
We're gonna get through this together.
Wow. I dropped the ball from that